Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Johnston, and this is Aggressive Fun. We're here. You may be thinking, well, what's he doing with a car? We actually have this is a Chevy Traverse. There's an issue with the closer mechanism. This rod goes to a mechanism, and it's come loose. So that's the point. And from a technology blog point of view, I'll show you here. There's a lot of technology that goes into this. And actually, the failure occurred because the technology didn't quite work the way that it's designed. These gates, I guess they call them, lift gates or hatch. It's not a hatchback. I guess we'll call it a lift gate. They are set up so that they're automated, like I said, with respect to that rod and actuator on the inside, but they don't handle any load except for the door itself. So opening it up, closing it down works great, but it does have a safety feature built into it so that if it's coming down and it runs into something, the electronics, the actuator, all of that sensing in that system is supposed to detect that it's hit something and reverse so that you don't damage the door or have it break. But that part of the mechanism, that sensing, for some reason didn't work this time. Now it also doesn't help that you have people who are using the Traverse who want to use it like the older style scoop garbage trucks, that you put something in there and you just cram it in and then you press the button to have it close, and it's supposed to just smash everything in there. And I'm laughing because my wife's the cameraman today, so she's giving me the look here. But that's actually what happened. It was loaded up for our daughter to move, and the stuff didn't fit. But they just thought, well, we'll just close that door and it'll just compact it for us. Well, it didn't. Instead, it broke it. So that ends up being a project for me, and that's why we're here today. So with that in mind, this is a 2014 model, so it's fairly new. There's very little information available as far as how this mechanism works, so I'm hoping that this goes well today as I try to take it apart. What we'll do to begin with, this lifts up to make it so that I can take this piece out, and I believe it'll just pop out of the way here. We'll set that aside. That makes it so that this whole piece that comes down in here and would interlock and run into it can come out. I know that there's two screws here. We'll get to those in a minute, but before we do, this panel comes off. And you can see, not sure what that is. Spare parts. Oh, it goes with the jack, because the jack's right here. And you can't see a lot of this, but there's gears, the motor, all of the mechanism is right here. So, all I know for sure is that these two little covers come off. And they have a screw behind them there. And we will use this drill. It's a Torx bit. Don't know, it's the largest one in my assortment. Doesn't give me the size on there, but it's the largest one that would be in this hex size. So we will go ahead and use that to pop these out. They come out really easily. Like I was saying, there's two of them that I know of so far. I'm sure the clips come off there. I'm sure there's going to be more. So you can see it's allowing it to move, and that's good. let's move the cover. Out of the way here. These pop out. So let's get that out of the way. So I was kind of hoping to get to it this way, but you can take a look in there. If this piece, these are separate pieces, so to get it to move around, I may take that out. I may not need to though. If you can see the ball, this ball right here, it turns out that this shaft, oh, it's broken. There's a plastic piece here, if you can see where my thumb is there. The bottom half of that is broken. There's a piece of plastic there that's broken. So I'm sure they didn't design it that way, but it turns out that that becomes like a fusible link. When there was too much force and the motor didn't reverse, it broke that piece off. I guess in some ways you can look at that as good news. It didn't break the motor, damage the gears, that kind of thing. It just broke an inexpensive plastic piece. But I'm obviously not going to have that piece, and I can't do anything to repair that right now. So the good news though is once I have a replacement piece, I won't have to pull this panel off any further. That's as much as it needs to go, because I'll be able to replace it, put it back in place without further disassembly. So we will leave it at that. This piece up here, I'll have to get a screwdriver, but that clip comes off, and then it allows this piece to come off of the ball joint up here. So this shaft will come out, and this is what I need. I don't think you can get just the plastic piece by itself. I think I'll have to buy this whole rod from the dealership. But the good news is that's going to be a fairly straightforward fix. Okay, this piece, there's a retainer clip here. If I pull it the right way, it should let that come right off. So you can see this one's correct, and the retainer just keeps the ball in the little socket there. This one is gone. So that was the weakest link. It broke off right there. The ball pops out. It doesn't work anymore. So what the next step is here, obviously I don't have this part. I'm going to have to purchase this part. But from a technology point of view, I'm scratching my head over why this even happened. This mechanical break should have never happened, because the system has sensing in place that if it is overloaded, like when somebody uses it to cram things in, that it should have reversed. It should have detected that it was overloaded and reversed. When I get this rod, then I'll tell you a story about our first experience with this when it opened when it wasn't supposed to. But that will come in just a little bit. Okay, I have done some parts chasing and have found the right part. I wasn't able to get it anywhere but from a Chevrolet dealership, so the price was a little bit higher than what I had hoped for. But it wasn't too bad. It was about $62. I saw some online for cheaper, but I didn't want to wait and pay the shipping and whatnot, so I think in the end it was a pretty good deal. As you can see from these, they both, is it better over here? Both ends have these fittings on them that clip over the ball attachment. One is on the lift gate, one is on the linkage that goes to the motor and the gear head that drives the actuator, or that is the actuator. So you can see what they look like normal, and then that's the damaged one. That's what broke. I do notice that there's a slight rotation to these. They aren't, the surface here isn't flat. I don't know that that matters. This one spins, so we'll see. I'll just put it in the way that it is. It doesn't give me an indication as to which one goes where, so I don't think it matters. And with these clips, we'll install it in the reverse order of what we did before when we took it out. So to begin with, put this one down inside again, and you can see where it goes. Can you see the ball joint there? Okay, I'll point at it right here. It's this one right here. And I don't know that it'll just pop on there. Oh, yes it will. Okay, that arm, you can see the gears operating down there as I move the arm. You need to make sure that it's in this up position since the lift gate. Oh, that's the other thing I discovered. The real name of this isn't hatch or anything like that, or rear door. It's lift gate. So you have a lift gate, and this is the lift gate actuator rod. So lift gate actuator is in there. This is the lift gate actuator, and it attaches up here to the lift gate. So hopefully that won't pop on there too. Okay, so it's in place. Let me pop this back in real quick. Before we do a reassembly, I want to test it real quick and make sure that it'll operate. And that guy, I'll check that here in just a minute. So with that attached, everything should be normal. So you press the button to operate it. Success. And it pulled it tight like it's supposed to and latched it. So I press the button to open it. That operates normally too. Okay, now the big test is testing the sensor on that actuator, which for whatever reason didn't work before. So I'll simulate it being overloaded. I had a thought that this is like a high-tech aggressive fun honeydew. I think this is the first one of these we've ever done. Once again, I want to thank my wife for being the camera operator today. So I'll simulate it being overloaded. When it starts to come down, I'll put some resistance on it, and hopefully the sensor and all of that within the actuator motor still operates properly and it'll reverse. So let's see. So normally it would be maybe down about here, it would run into something, it goes back up. If that works, do not understand why it broke. And it doesn't take much. I'm not pulling on it hardly at all to get it to go back up. Maybe the plastic part was defective, had a crack in it. Maybe it's not my wife's fault at all. I'm gonna go with that. It was not her fault. It was a defective plastic part. But that looks like that's a fix. So test it one more time, completely shut and open. So that's normal. It's closed like it's supposed to be. And it opens up like normal. Okay. Well, like I was saying, there was one part here that I thought wasn't quite right, but maybe it's just the way it's normally matched up and I didn't notice it before. think that's right. So we make sure that all of the plastic panel piece is behind the gaskets there, and we put this in place again so that these screws can go back in. There are holes in the normal spots. So I have them right here. There's the two of them again. Let me put this one on first. There we go. Get that started finger tight first, and then I'll use my handy dandy drill here. Okay, oops. That one's in good. Put the cover back on it. And the second one, same thing. I set my drill so that the little torque clutch there kicks in and you don't have to worry about stripping anything out. And that one is good to go as well. Okay, the remaining pieces here are, we'll put the jack piece back in, and we have this cover that pops back in place. Like so. This piece goes back in. Like so. It goes under this gasket as well. And it pops right back in. And then we put this cover back in place, and there's two plastic clips here for the hinges that pop back on. And we're done. And it works. So it didn't end up being quite the high-tech investigation troubleshooting that I had thought it was. The actuator, the sensors still work normally. So it's just that plastic clip broke and caused the piece to come undone and not function any longer. So hopefully, if you have this kind of problem with yours, that's all that ends up being the problem with yours as well. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was a helpful video for you and helpful information. Feel free to leave comments. Don't know a whole lot more about what's going on there, but I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you might have. And again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.